Africa's road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup has been nothing short of a continent-spanning epic, filled with giants rising, underdogs roaring, and entire nations holding their breath as dreams hung in the balance. The qualifiers began with 54 nations chasing a place on world football's biggest stage. Only 10 would have a chance, 9 earning automatic qualification and one last nation battling through the global playoff. What followed was a story of grit, heartbreak, unity, and historic breakthroughs. Tonight, we journey across the continent, reliving how Africa's biggest footballing story unfolded. From North Africa's fiery stadium atmospheres to West Africa's drumming crowds and East Africa's rising talent pools, the qualifiers carried a new energy. Africa had been given more World Cup slots than ever, and for many nations this was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Fans packed stadiums in numbers that had not been seen in years. Entire cities paused their routines whenever their national teams walked onto the pitch. For the players, this was more than football, it was national duty. As the first round of matches kicked off, it became clear that Africa's footballing landscape was shifting. New challengers were emerging, while traditional giants were being forced to defend their thrones under intense pressure. In North Africa, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt wasted no time reminding the continent of their dominance. Algeria, under new leadership, stormed through their group with renewed discipline. Their midfield flow, once criticized for inconsistency, suddenly became one of the most organized units in African football. They topped their group convincingly, earning one of the automatic tickets. Egypt, inspired by a new generation of attackers complementing their veteran stars, controlled their group from start to finish. Their tactical maturity stood out, calm, structured, and ruthless. Tunisia displayed one of the most balanced campaigns. Every match felt calculated. Their defense was sharp, the midfield kept things composed, and they secured their qualification with games to spare. And then came Morocco, still basking in the confidence of their recent global rise. They dominated their opposition with style, control, and depth, proving they were not just a strong African side, but a genuine world-class contender. These 4 nations qualified early, showing that experience and stability still matter deeply in African football. West Africa delivered some of the most emotional stories of the qualifiers. Ghana, a nation with a proud World Cup legacy, stepped onto the field determined to return to the global stage. Though their campaign had moments of tension, the Black Stars found form at the crucial moments. Young talents and experienced leaders blended well, giving Ghana the push they needed. Their qualification reignited belief in the hearts of millions. But one of the biggest stories came from the ambitious and fearless side of Cape Verde. A nation with fewer people than some African cities, Cape Verde fought with heart, skill, and unshakable unity. Match after match, they proved that football isn't about size, it's about spirit, planning, and courage. Their historic qualification became one of the most inspirational achievements in African football history. For the first time ever, Cape Verde had a ticket to the FIFA World Cup. Ivory Coast, the African champions, played with the confidence of a team that truly understands its identity. Their campaign wasn't perfect, but it was powerful. When they needed results, they delivered. And just like that, they secured another place at the world's biggest tournament. Senegal, led by a new wave of hungry, fast, technically sharp talents, made their qualification look almost effortless. Their defense remained one of the strongest in Africa, and their attacking rhythm never faded. With a balanced squad, Senegal earned their spot with authority. By the time the dust settled, 9 countries had secured direct qualification: Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Ghana, Senegal, Ivory Coast, South Africa, Cape Verde. These were Africa's representatives, some familiar, some rising, and one completely new to the world stage. South Africa's qualification was another highlight. For years they struggled to rebuild their football identity. But in this campaign something clicked. With structured play, strong defending, and clinical finishes, South Africa climbed to the top of their group and returned to the World Cup after years of absence. Their qualification brought joy and hope back to the nation. Africa had its 9 and the continent celebrated. But one more place, one final chance remained open. The last path to the World Cup was dramatic. The CAF runner-up playoff. Here 2 nations stood tall: Nigeria and DR Congo. Nigeria's journey had been turbulent. A slow start had fans worried. But as the matches progressed, the Super Eagles rediscovered their rhythm. They tightened their defense, improved transitions, and began scoring freely. They finished as one of the best runners-up. But so did DR Congo, a team that had been knocking on the door of greatness for years. Their campaign brought together experience, power, and passion. They fought for every point, every inch, every moment. And now they stood on the brink of history. Their face-off in the playoff was intense. Every tackle carried weight. Every chance felt like destiny. The two nations played not only for themselves but for a chance to represent Africa in the global intercontinental playoff. Only one would survive. Only one would move forward. As the final stages approached, the hearts of millions across Africa beat in unison. For Cape Verde, qualification meant national celebration. For Ghana, it meant redemption. For Algeria and Morocco, it meant carrying the pride of North Africa. For South Africa, it marked the return of a footballing nation. For Senegal and Ivory Coast, it was confirmation of their rising power. And for Tunisia and Egypt, it was proof of consistency. But for Nigeria and DR Congo, the journey was still unfolding. African fans debated, argued, predicted, and hoped. Whichever team won would carry the continent's final dream into the world playoff. Beyond victories and defeats, the qualifiers revealed something deeper about African football. Smaller nations showed courage. Mid-level teams showed growth. Giants were forced to evolve. And the continent as a whole displayed just how far its football has come. From packed stadiums in Kumasi and Dakar to emotional nights in Kinshasa and Tunis, every match meant something. Every team fought not just for results but for identity. Young talents emerged. Veterans proved their worth. Coaches adapted modern systems. Fans reignited their passion. African football was evolving, rising, transforming. And the world was watching. With the qualifiers concluded, 9 African nations now prepare for the main stage. A global tournament. A new format. New opportunities. For Cape Verde, this will be a story of firsts. For Ghana and South Africa, it's a return of energy. For Ivory Coast, it's a chance to show the world why they're African champions. For Morocco and Senegal, it's a shot at going even farther than before. For Egypt, Algeria, and Tunisia, it's time to reclaim dominance. And for the playoff survivor, either Nigeria or DR Congo, it will be the final chapter of an unforgettable qualifying journey. Africa goes to the 2026 World Cup stronger, more united, and more talented than ever. The dream is alive. The journey continues. And the continent rises once more.